All right, who's ready to join the pain train for Jazz fans? It's the Hoops Nerd postgame show. Time to ride the pain train. We're down going down Xanax Boulevard into Sadness Street. And we're going to pull into the driveway of Depression Driveway. The end of that narrative. All right. The LA Clippers smashed the Utah Jazz again in Game 4. Not a lot of good things for Jazz fans to talk about tonight. There's a lot of bad things, but let's talk about the LA Clippers first. First, Kawhi Leonard hurt my feelings with a dunk on Rudy Gobert that really just kind of summed up the night. The LA Clippers are really, really good, and they dominated the Utah Jazz, who did not seem to have any sort of cohesion in the first quarter. They looked tentative. They looked nervous. They looked like a different team than the team that we saw in Game 1 and 2 that looked very much, confident, strong, and some of that you've just got to give credit to the Clippers. They've kind of figured the Jazz out a little bit. Maybe this is the point in the series where they have figured the Jazz out. Maybe. That's what happened with Denver last year. At a certain point, the Denver Nuggets figured the Jazz out. They figured them out. And the Utah Jazz ended up giving up a 3-1 lead. I'm honestly, as a Jazz fan, and Kenny, shout out to Kenny for joining the chat. There's not a lot of people tonight because guess what? The Jazz, it was an embarrassing bad loss for the Jazz. Not a lot of Jazz fans are going to watch live tonight, and that's okay. But me and Kenny are here giving you guys, the real deal. But what it is, I'm honestly smiling through the pain right now. Oh, it hurts a lot. It hurts a lot. It really does. Right now, honestly, though, the Los Angeles Clippers have really just kind of figured the Jazz out, at least this iteration of the Jazz. I know that the Jazz do not have Mike Conley, and that's a big deal. But there are some things that Mike Conley's not going to fix. For like 2 games now, Royce O'Neal has not been able to stay in front of his guy. And I know that the Jazz have Rudy Gobert, but the problem with that is that when Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are getting to the rim and getting there pretty easily, if the Los Angeles Clippers have a stretch 5 on the floor, Rudy Gobert cannot stay at the rim and protect. David, welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining. So, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, they drive to the hoop. And if they get there without any resistance from Royce O'Neal, and they got almost none tonight, like 0, then Rudy Gobert has to rotate to protect the rim. But what that does is it leaves someone like Nicholas Batum or Marcus Morris open for 3. And that's what the Clippers are doing. And guess what? Those guys are knocking down those shots. Tonight, let's see. Yep. I'm just making sure I got the right stats. Tonight, Nicholas Batum. Actually, Batum didn't have the best night, which is kind of interesting. He was just 1 for 6 from 3 and 2 for 8 from the field. Marcus Morris, though, was fantastic. He had 24 points and was 5 for 6 from 3. So you finally get the big Marcus. I missed whoever joined the channel. I'm sorry, I missed it. But Marcus Morris is he torched the Jazz tonight. You could argue he's probably part of the reason they won. Well, definitely part of the reason why they won, outside of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George just dominating. Both of them had 31 points tonight. You had 31 from Paul George, 31 from Kawhi, 24 from Marcus Morris. Everyone else was in single digits, and no one other than those 3 had more than 8 points. That's actually interesting. And that's something to watch. Interesting. But anyways, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George have been incredible in these 2 games in LA, and there's not a lot else to say about it. They have just been dominant, and Utah has not had an answer. I know that there's a lot of things going on with the Jazz right now in terms of health and Conley and all these different things, but they're figuring ways to get by Royce O'Neal, and that sometimes it just gets to, You've got to have guys like Royce O'Neal play better. You just do. Like, Royce has got to stay in front of his man. If the Jazz want to win the series, and we talked about this when the series started, Royce O'Neal needs to have a big series for the Jazz to win this. He just absolutely does. And if he's not having a good series, the Jazz are going to struggle. He is hitting the three, which is nice, but the defensive end has been the last 2 games, it's been rough. Adam Slater, welcome to Rookie, man. Welcome to the channel. Adam Slater joining like a stud. We got a rookie with potential in Adam. Welcome, Adam. The Pokemon. Why didn't the Jazz make adjustments coming into this game? And what's going on with Conley? $4.99. Thank you, Pokemon. I appreciate it a lot. That's a very good question, and I'm just going to answer it right now. The Jazz haven't really adjusted in terms of offense. It's really the Donovan Mitchell show, and it's become very much like Donovan Mitchell scoring the ball, everyone kind of watching, and there's not a lot of ball movement. And because Donovan Mitchell's ankle is not 100%, he's just not driving as well to the hoop, and so that's not forcing the defense to bend. And because of that, he can't really kick it out, and he can do a little bit better job of that, but it's a struggle right now, and the Jazz offense is just not flowing, and that's kind of one of the effects of not having Mike Conley. Like I've talked about before, Mike Conley leads the Jazz in passes. He does. And it's by a wide margin. It's like 64 passes a game if you go to NBA.com. It's something like that, not 100%. You got to give credit to the Clippers for slowing that down, 1. But 2, that's just an effect of not having Mike Conley. The ball moves when Mike Conley's on the floor. And it's not moving right now. And the Jazz are struggling. I think the Jazz actually can be okay. I think the Mitchell injury is very, very troubling. But with Conley on the floor, Mitchell can play off of him a little bit more and not be just the sole offensive production. Key himself, $2. 2 blowouts back to back. I'm ready for offseason. Maybe. Let's hope. Let's get some DW hope, right? Jazz going on the way. I still believe, right, DW? Maybe. Things are bleak right now, but in our darkest moments, we must rise up. Unless our coach benches us with 3 fouls in the second and third quarter and ruins our run to get back. Then you can't really rise. Then you've got not a Phoenix story. You've just got a giant fart noise story. And that's what happened tonight. But anyways, a lot of credit to the Clippers. They are figuring it out. A lot of people were mocking Ty Lue for trying a lot of different rotations. Well, those people are really quiet right now because they've kind of figured out different things that they can do. And guess what? It's not like a bad thing to play different players on your team, Quin Snyder. Sometimes it's a good idea to give other guys different run and give different looks, forcing the team you're playing to kind of make different decisions because you're not used to who you're guarding. When you play the same guys every single play, every single night at the same exact time with the same exact minute-to-minute rotation, guess what? Other teams start to recognize those things and they start to improve and play better. So maybe we shouldn't mock Ty Lue for making changes. Because guess what? The other team is on their toes a little bit more. I don't know. I like that Ty Lue makes different moves. I like that he tries different things. Our coach doesn't. The Jazz coach does not make changes. He does not adjust. He does not change lineups mid-game. He doesn't. He just doesn't. So, shout out to Ty Lue. All right. That's enough about the Clippers because the sadness train is taking a stop to talk about manscaped.com tonight. Father's Day is just around the corner and you probably need a gift for your hairy dad. Make your dad proud this year and get him and yourself the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. That's right. Do it for both of you. Buy 2. It'll be great. You'll be happy. I actually promise you will really like it. You heard that right. The Lawnmower 4.0. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code HoopsNerd20 at manscaped.com. HoopsNerd20, guys. Our code did so well before that they needed to change it because it got leaked to like one of those sites online that tells you codes and stuff, even though that probably benefits me. So I'm not mad about it. But anyways, it probably shouldn't be something I should be talking about, but that's okay. I hope Manscaped's not watching this one. It also gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a precise shave. You can now shave your balls in the dark. The Lawnmower 4.0 even allows you to customize your trim through additional guard lengths with sizes 1 through 4. You can make different rotations with your shaving. Like maybe 1 month you're like a certain length and another a different length. That sounds weird. We're going to keep going. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code HoopsNerd20. Don't forget that you came from your dad's balls. This year, show your original home some love with Manscaped. I forgot about that line. HoopsNerd20. Do it. It's worth it. Free shipping and 20% off. It legit saves you like 20, 30 bucks. It really does. It's worth it. Do it. I love mine. It's great. Should we talk about the Utah Jazz? Let's talk about the Utah Jazz. I'm ready. I am just so excited to talk. Let's see. You know what? It's interesting when you come look at, it's funny when you kind of diagnose the numbers after a game. There's a few things that jump out and a few things that don't. One thing, Donovan Mitchell played 39 minutes tonight, which is troubling a little bit, because he has a bad ankle. And it was the Donovan Mitchell show tonight. That is basically what the Jazz's offense was. And it didn't go great because the Clippers have figured out how to like kind of isolate Mitchell because he has a bad ankle. It keeps him from driving to the rim and getting easy buckets. And so it basically comes down to Donovan Mitchell 3-point shooting. What's incredibly impressive tonight, actually, and I didn't realize this, but Donovan Mitchell took, is this for real? 15 free throws for Donovan Mitchell tonight, and he hit 13 of them. That's magnificent. And the fact that he's doing that on a bad ankle is incredible. Actually, I'm going to pivot here a little bit. That's a really good sign for the Utah Jazz in the rest of this series. Because if Mike Conley can come back and Donovan Mitchell can get a little bit more efficiency and not have to put up so many tough shots because of the Jazz's just like gridlock on offense, that's pretty great. Mike Conley is essential. The Jazz are not winning this series without Mike Conley. And they're it's just a fact. Mike Conley was a big part of the Utah Jazz being having the best record in the NBA. They've played all 4 games this series without Mike Conley. And it's tough to win when you're missing one of your most important players. The Jazz had 3 All-Stars this year. They are down 1. And you know what? Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert have been incredible and led the Jazz to a 2-2 tie with the Clippers. Donovan Mitchell now is playing through a bad ankle, and Rudy Gobert has an ailment. It's called his coach sits him too much. That's that's what's ailing him. So it's tough. It's tough to win that. It's tough to win when your coach keeps you on the bench for 17 minutes of the game when you're the defensive player of the year and probably the best player on the defensive end this game has ever seen. And our coach seems to just want to not have that player on the floor very often. It's disappointing, and it's costing the Jazz the series. It cost the Jazz game 1 against the Grizzlies, and I don't know if the Jazz had a chance to win this game, but Quin Snyder definitely ensured the Jazz would lose by playing Rudy Gobert only 31 minutes tonight. You know? And we can quibble about whether they actually had a chance or not after a terrible first quarter, but you pretty much ensure it when you don't play your best players. All right? That's just a fact. But yes, Donovan Mitchell was incredible, and I'm actually super impressed that he took 15 free throws. That is magnificent. He took 26, and the reason why that's so impressive is because he took 26 shots, and even though he only hit 34% from the field, he scored 37 points, so that's an efficient night. And he was 6 for 15 from 3, which is incredible. His 3-point shot has become unbelievable. Guess what? Donovan Mitchell's up there with Steph and Dame. He is. It's not a blasphemous statement. It's just a fact. It's like Steph, Dame, and Don. Those are the 3 best shooters in the NBA. Fact. It's a fact. David Mina Dominga, thanks for the 99 cents, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, David. You are very kind and great. DW to CB, what better time to give Favors burn than a 2-1 playoff game? Right? I mean, I guess, yeah. You know, here, let's just look at that's the story of this game, and we'll talk about a few other things, but that's the big story. One is Donovan Mitchell. He's a superstar. He's incredible. Steph, Dame, Don, those are the guys. Don't ever compare Ben Simmons to Donovan Mitchell again. He never deserved the Rookie of the Year. He's not in Donovan Mitchell's league. please stop talking about Ben Simmons in the same breath as Donovan Mitchell, because he is not. He is an inferior player. Donovan Mitchell, let's see. Oh, no. So tonight, Rudy Gobert was 31 minutes. At one point in the fourth quarter, he was a +4 for this game. Derrick Favors was a -14 in this game. That's the game. Jorge Arrizaga, 50 pesos mexicanos. Not over till it's over. Utah in 7. Mitchell will take us to the promised land. I believe too, Jorge. Yo creo también que eso puede ser. Yo creo también. Gracias, Jorge. Muchas gracias. But anyways, that's the game. The Jazz lost this game by 14 points. Derrick Favors was a -14. Do the math. And I know that's a simplified view, and someone on Twitter will probably be, have a super smart comment and some retweet that says, well, they lost it in the first quarter when they scored. Well, guess what? I don't know if you guys know this, but there have been teams that have gotten down in the first quarter and they come back. It's happened before. I don't know if you knew this, but sometimes teams get down in the first quarter because their coach didn't really have much of a game plan, or the players just came out tentative like the Jazz did, or made really dumb passes and turnovers. The turnovers in that first quarter were a joke. Cook it up, ZZ, $7.99. Thanks, my friend. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. The pain train moves on with you guys and these donations. I appreciate it. You don't have to, but I appreciate it. It's amazing. Thank you. Cook it up, ZZ. I appreciate it. But anyways, that's the big story of the game. And guess what? We sat him for foul trouble. So people who are, Quin stans, there are many of them, will say, well, he was foul trouble. Well, guess what? Rudy Gobert played 31 minutes. He went into foul trouble in like the second quarter. He had like 2 or 3 fouls. Quin sat him. Rudy played like 10 minutes in the first half. I can't remember what it was exactly. He came in right at the end or something. I actually think it was total 10 minutes in the first half. You can go look it up and then let me know in the comments. 10 minutes. There are 24 minutes in the first. It was something like 10 to 13. It was really bad, guys. Like, it cost us the game. Like, anyone who says we lost the game in the first quarter, well, guess what? Part of that was having Rudy Gobert just sit. It really was. Let's see. Matthew Castleton, the Jazz still have home court advantage. That's why we went so hard to get it. Yeah, and that's going to help. Hope if Mike Conley can come back, I bet the energy in Vivint is going to be really nice. I agree. But yes, Matthew Castleton, they must have Conley back to win. Totally agree. Let's see. Lee Christensen, I feel pain in my heart. A lot of pain in my heart. Yes. Pain train tonight. Pain train. Woo-hoo. Woo. Ezekiel Recibe, $2. Whoever wins game 5 wins the series. Go Jazz. Ezekiel, my friend from down under. From Ezekiel, let me know in the comments. Was it from New Zealand? I can't remember. I may be totally off. But from New Zealand, one of the coolest places ever. If I'm wrong, let me know. I want to get that right. Anyways, that was the name of the game. If you're talking foul trouble, well, Rudy didn't foul out, so I guess we succeeded in, not fouling out. Maybe is there an award? Yeah, or let's see. Oh, Kenny's from New Zealand. Well, shout out to Kenny. Anyways, so I guess maybe there's an award for people who don't foul out. Maybe you get maybe Adam Silver sends you like a nice little package. Maybe he sends you a Manscaped 4.0 if you don't foul out, I know they're really nice groin trimmers. So maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe. I don't know. But Quin's really good at keeping players from fouling out. But you know what else he's really good at is keeping our players on the floor when it matters so that we can win the game. Rudy Gobert was not in the game in the first half, and if anyone tells me they lost the game in the first half, well, that's because Rudy Gobert sat. And you know what really makes you insane while you're watching the game? You know what really drives you nuts? Is when someone, I can't remember the announcers, where Greg Anthony, I think it was the color commentator tonight, when he's talking about how the Jazz look better defensively. Well, you know why? Because Rudy Gobert was on the floor. And guess what? In the third quarter, they cut the lead to 14. Australia. Okay. Sorry, Ezekiel. I almost got it right. But that's probably more accurate if I say down under, right? But yes, Australia. I knew it, Ezekiel. I knew it. I knew it. I almost got it. Almost got it. But anyways, so, it's kind of like you want to be like, hey, Greg Anthony, you know why the Jazz look better on defense in the third quarter? Because Rudy Gobert is on the floor. Cook it up, ZZ, $2.99. Thank you again, sir. I'm from Australia. Shout out to our Australians. We got an Australian channel tonight, I guess. Cook it up, ZZ, Ezekiel, Kenny, all you guys with Joe Ingles. Did you come from because you're fans of Joe Ingles? That's great if you are. But all Australian fans are welcome to the Hoops Nerd channel. You guys are all amazing. Shout out to everyone from Australia. It's really great. It's a great place. You guys also have lots of deadly animals. I think, don't you have like the most poisonous snakes in Australia? Or something like that. And I think there's a fun fact. Maybe if you're from New Zealand, let me know. But I believe there's like no poisonous snakes in New Zealand, or maybe even no snakes at all. I think that's like a weird fact about Australia or New Zealand, is there's like no snakes or something. Anyone can look that up and let me know, but it's kind of weird, right? Let me know in the comments. Things you learn on the Hoops Nerd channel. Snakes in New Zealand. That's what happens when your coach plays one of your best players 31 minutes. So blame Quinn. Jordan Clarkson had a kind of an off night, but you know what? I'm not going to blame him too much. The Jazz just didn't have a lot of great nights. You know who had a surprisingly good night when you look at these numbers? Bojan Bogdanovic was 6 for 12 from the field and 2 for 5 from 3. 5 assists for Bojan and 18 points. That's actually pretty solid. Royce O'Neal offensively, really solid. 3 for 6 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. That stroke from Royce O'Neal is still falling, so that's a good sign. 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 8 points. Offensively, Royce was nice. Defensively, Royce really struggled. So I don't know. I'm just sad tonight, guys, a little bit. You know what else Quin Snyder does is he keeps playing George Niang, and you guys know, and I do, obviously, we do post-game shows every game. We rarely miss a game. It's like, I think we missed like 2 games this year at most. I like George Niang a lot, and I think George Niang brings a lot. He has not brought anything in this series. He's just not. He is, if I might go to Basketball Reference and look it up, but George Niang in this game was 0 for 2. He was, they were both 3-point shots. He missed them both. He was a minus 13. He had 4 fouls. He had 2 assists, which is nice. He has moved the ball a little bit and 2 rebounds, but he had that one play where he fell down. It's not good. It's really not. And it's 12 minutes, and Quin Snyder just continues to play him. I don't know why. Quin Snyder, like, honestly has not changed a single minute of any sort of rotation in this series at all. If anything, the only changes he's made is played certain guys less that you want to be on the floor. There is just not a world where you keep Rudy Gobert off the floor if you want to win this playoff series, if you're the Jazz coach. I mean, I'm not even kidding. This is actually like, and we try to be positive and nice, but Quin Snyder's costing the Jazz chances to win games. It's just, there's just no other way around it. Like, Rudy Gobert needs to stay on the floor. And you know what? If Rudy Gobert fouls out, then so be it. But Rudy Gobert needs to be on the floor. And even Rudy Gobert playing in a way that keeps him from getting fouls is better than the Derrick Favors getting dunked on like this. This is what happens when Rudy Gobert's off the floor. This is what happened. And by the way, Donovan Mitchell's face is so funny. I actually, when I first saw that picture, I couldn't help but laugh. But this is what happens when you play Rudy Gobert 31 minutes. This is what happens. I don't know what else to say. And people who think they're really smart on Twitter will say, well, you coach the team. Well, you know what? If I coach the team, I would play Rudy Gobert more. I wouldn't know as many offensive sets as Quinn does, but here's the thing. You can know all the offensive sets in the world. You can have the best basketball mind that ever was in terms of X's and O's and out of timeout plays and you know, all these different systems and all these different ideas and all this different stuff, and you can understand elevator screens and floppy action and horn sets and all these different basketball things. You can know all of that. Guess what? Those things don't matter if you don't play your best players. They don't make a difference. Mr. Make You Something. Welcome to the channel. Though you can be the best basketball mind that ever was. And guess what? It doesn't matter if you don't play your best guys. It doesn't matter. Like Ty Lue can bring all the leadership and all the different play sets and all the different things to the LA Clippers. If he doesn't play Kawhi Leonard and Paul George enough, the Clippers don't win the series. So you want to just see something. Kawhi Leonard in this game, and he did leave hurt. That's something to watch, I guess. I think he'll probably be fine, but he played 34 minutes tonight. But with garbage time, they left early because of garbage time. Paul George played 40 minutes in this game. We talked about this last video, by the way. Rudy Gobert played 31. Paul George played 40. 9 minutes in a playoff basketball game is a long time. A long time. That's 9 minutes where Paul George was playing against Derrick Favors and George Niang. Do you think that affected things a little bit? I think so. I think so. Guess what? Sometime, and you know, this is just a thought, because I have people saying, well, we lost it in the first quarter. Well, yeah. Technically, yes, you went down big in the first quarter. You can come back in other quarters. So let's say you lose the first quarter, and you know, I'm being facetious here, but guess what? You can make those points back in other quarters. Like let's say you have a really good second quarter. You can counteract having a bad first quarter. And then in like the third quarter, you can have another good quarter. And then maybe in the fourth quarter, you have another good quarter. And guess what? You made up the difference in the first quarter. I don't know. Sometimes that happens, you know? Like tonight, the Jazz had a Donovan Mitchell hitting big time from 3, and he went to the line, shot 15 free throws. Probably could have made that up, but you can't when you don't play your best players. You can't. The end. I'm going to write about this tomorrow, by the way. I have to write an 800-word post, and it's going to be about minutes. And I have created my own little analytic. There's a first for everything. And the first tonight is my own new analytic I've created. And I'm actually only being half facetious. And I'm calling it star differential. Star differential. It's a new stat. The Jazz are behind in star differential. Tonight, it was a +9 in favor of the Clippers. You know? And guess what? We played Donovan Mitchell 39 minutes on a bad ankle and risked injuring him more, and he might have tweaked it again. Who knows? So we're playing Donovan Mitchell 39 minutes in a game we were behind by 14 because we rested our game-changing center. I can't say enough about how annoying and tired of it I am, to be honest. I'm really not happy about it. It's like it's got to change. And if we lose this series, if Mike Conley comes back and Donovan Mitchell is still hitting at a high percentage from 3, I know he's not driving the same and his ankle's not 100%, but guess what? He shot 15 free throws. His ankle's good enough that he's getting to the foul line. He shot 15 threes and made 6 of them. That's 40%. Donovan Mitchell is shooting 40% from 3. And I know that the 9 for 26 from the field is a sign of the ankle. He's not splitting the double team like he was in game 1 and 2. It's obvious that he's like hobbled a little bit, but the 3 is still there. He's still hitting shots. He's still getting the line. He had 5 assists tonight. He's still passing the ball. We are missing Mike Conley. Guess what? If Mike Conley comes back and things don't improve, or we don't play Rudy Gobert enough, there's going to have to be some tough questions asked in the offseason. Because guess what? The Jazz have put every single thing into this year, And the window is like now and 3 years. And guess what? This is maybe the most open the window's ever been right now. Like, if you beat the Clippers, which is going to be a tall task, you have the Suns. I mean, I don't know anyone who thinks that that's not like an equal matchup, you know. The Jazz can win that series. It's not like you're playing the Warriors with Steph and KD and Clay and Draymond. The the Suns are very good. The Jazz can win that. This is a window that you can win. Guess what? Kyrie Irving just turned his ankle bad. The Nets are probably going to lose that series, you know? So this is like the best shot the Jazz have maybe ever is right now. So you got to play your guys. And if your coach is not playing your guys and Rudy Gobert is coming into the game and stays and plays with 4 fouls the entire second half, because guess what? Players can adjust and try not to foul. You're costing us a game. You know, I don't know if Quin Snyder cost us the game tonight, but he sure as hell didn't win it. He sure as heck did not win it. Right? It's really frustrating. And you know what? This is the type of year where, I've seen comments about like, all the injuries in the playoffs and stuff. I agree. Like, that makes this kind of the type of year that maybe you could squeeze out a championship. It's hard for teams like the Utah Jazz to win championships. It's hard. And, in a season where like there's more injuries and stuff, this is your opportunity. So play your guys. Play your guys. This is it. This is it. Mike Conley might not be on the Jazz next year. He's a free agent, by the way. And that's a whole other discussion for whenever the offseason happens for the Jazz. But this is your chance. This might be your only chance with Mike Conley. And this might be the best Mike Conley will ever be at this point in his career. So this is it. So play your guys. Play Rudy Gobert. Play him. And if he fouls out, so be it. But you at least will have stemmed the runs that happened when he's off the floor unnecessarily. And guess what? You can be in control of your own fate. All of us want to be in control of our own fate. And you do that by putting your players on the floor and then having them try not to get in foul trouble. Rudy Gobert's good enough to not foul, by the way. He's an all-star. He's all NBA. First team all defense. 5 straight all defense. I think it's 5 straight first team all defense too, by the way. 3-time defensive player of the year. You think that guy can't figure out how to not foul? I think he's smart enough to know how to do that. And you know what? Rudy looked frustrated in this game, and I agree with him because Royce O'Neal is not defending very well the last 2 games. He needs to be better. But at the same time, you know what? Rudy Gobert makes Royce O'Neal a better defender when he's on the floor. Royce O'Neal looks a lot worse when Derrick Favors is behind him and Kawhi Leonard gets past Royce. I mean, by the way, Royce owes Derrick Favors a dinner or something, because this doesn't happen if Royce guards his man. Like, Kawhi got by Royce so easily on this drive. And, Kawhi's fast and strong and athletic, but I think Royce can stay in front of him, and he just didn't. So, Royce, I hope you do something for Derrick, because he's on SportsCenter now. So, Royce O'Neal, please stay in front of your man better. It would help the Jazz very much. D'Lo in a Jazz uni would be lit. I don't know. Maybe if he can play in the playoffs, because right now, as good as Mike Conley is, he's not playing. So, sometimes you just have to judge people and things by what they do and what have you done for me lately. And lately, Mike Conley hasn't been on the floor. It's going to be hard for the Jazz to give a max or a big they're not going to give him a max. Maybe they will. I don't know. Who knows? But it's hard to like put away $20 million a year or whatever it is for Mike Conley when he's not even healthy in the playoffs. It sucks, man. It just sucks. It's just kind of a lose-lose. I don't know what you do there. Let's see. All right. Well, you know what? The sadness train is probably coming to an end, but we've got to talk about our all-stars. You guys are the ones that make everything amazing. Let's just go. All right, our newest altar and one, Anton Warren. X marks the spot for Zintas. Ezekiel Raisibe, the man from down under. JT Buckets Wardell. Austin R. Grant, editor extraordinaire. Eric C. The C is for champion. Donald Schooley, schooling all of us. Cody Strickland, strictly the best. Super Mitt Robach, DW to CB. Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer. Jorge Arrizaga, mi amigo de abajo. Lee Christensen, driving the lane. Ryan Perry, the legend. Justin Time, Justin Ty H. Patrick Akubo, my buddy. These last three are, I'm sorry, Patrick, you're such a good dude. And we went to lunch together, and I just haven't gotten you a good nickname. If anyone has a nickname for Patrick, let me know in the comments. Let's get a nickname for Patrick Akubo, because he's a really nice guy. Actually, I think you're into, like, you have like a winery or something like that, Patrick. Maybe we can call Patrick the Connoisseur. Oh, there we go. Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. Robert Hall. We also need a nickname for Robert, because he brings the heat all the time. Robert Hall brings the heat. There we go. There we go. Robert Hall bringing the heat. DW Jazz going all the way. I still have hope. Anyways, guys, thank you for being here tonight. It's a sadness train. The pain train is coming to a halt, so we can all go to bed and probably think about the pain train for another couple days until 2 days from now when we find out if Mike Conley plays or not. It's time to do a seance together to bring Mike Conley back, to heal his hamstring, the mild hamstring. There, that was the magical incantation to bring back Mike Conley. So anyways, yeah, let's bring back Mike Conley. Let's get him healthy. Seance circles for everyone. Audrey's asleep. I got to take her out. She's got to go to the bathroom before I put her in her crate, go to bed. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. We're late. On the East Coast, we're really late. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you haven't already, join the channel. You can support the channel. And that's great. And I appreciate it. Also, shout out to everyone, ZZ especially, for the donations. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I will talk to you next game. Maybe before.